Came out the bottom, I count a whole lot of young gonna worth millions of dollars. I asked out the charm, my little bitch a model. She made a few ends off for following. You wanna on tour, a BP the child. Living a cool, I'm a title. Ain't no more worries, I'm up at it early. Young niggas tryna figure out the problem. For 30-30, I hit it like Curry. They hit me, I don't even holler. These niggas songs flopping. Niggas ain't gon' stop me. Switch out my cars and my addy, my family straight, and that's all that matter. Stacking them rest and then saving, put back for whatever, whenever it happens. I put my trust in my paper, when I'm walking through straight, I don't see no one else. No, it ain't long this route. Simmons and better missteps. Stay ready, I'm already prepped. Undefeated, I feel like the champ.
I want to welcome everyone who's tuning in for this episode 2, where today we'll talk more about the beginning of my journey of football and what that was like for me. If you could, for me, I would appreciate everyone who is watching this right now or listening. Subscribe to this channel and like it. Hit that like button. Man, comment. Blow up the comments. All right. I want to hear from you guys. What are you learning? What's a new perspective that you have? Good or bad, man. Just no negativity. All right. We want to keep this a positive podcast. We'll keep this as positive as we can. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. All the support I appreciate. And I thank you guys. So let's get into it. My story from the beginning. 6 years old. I started with, let's start with the first game. So my dad took me to a football game, random football game, right? He said, man, I want you to go check out your cousin, check him out and watch him play today. And he picked me up and he took me to his game. And at this point, I had never saw a football game live, seen it on TV, but never saw it live, right? So we go to this game. I remember us walking on the top of the bleachers. All right, this is Pop Warner football. And, you know, we go to the game and, you know, I hear the sounds, the people cheering. I can smell the smells, just concession stands, people cheering, bells. They said those bells, clink, 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 I think they call them like cowbells or something. But I remember the things I heard, the things I saw, things I smelled, and I was really observant kid. And so that's just kind of how I reflect on this moment for me. So we watched the game, and I mean, not too long into it, I'm asking like, yeah, what number is my cousin? Cause I hadn't seen him play before. And he's like, oh, he's number 1. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like number 1, like, well, let's see how he plays. Man, he got the ball one time, took off. It was probably like a 50, 60-yard touchdown. And I saw how the entire stadium erupted when he got this football. And I'm gonna tell you right now, he got the ball, right? He ran in the middle, boom, boom, boom. Now he played running back. I didn't mention that. He played running back. So I didn't know. I heard things like even going into the game, I heard some people, talking about him and, oh, can't wait to see him play. And I'm like, okay, like he must be all right. Like, and yeah, he gets the handoff up the middle. I thought they had him. I thought the defense had him. He was literally went into this crowd and busted out the back of it and was gone. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like the hairs on my neck stood up. I had goosebumps. And I remember like it was yesterday, hearing the crowd and seeing him run. It just did something to me. I felt like from that play on, my whole life changed because I instantly fell in love with the game at that very moment. It was insane. I mean, that was a defining moment for me. And just that quickly, I was like, yeah, this is a game I want to play for as long as I humanly possibly can. Like this is a game that I want to play. I mean, as a kid, you're like, I want to play this forever. And that's how it all started for me. I remember leaving that game in disbelief. Like I was just shaking my head like, wow. Like, and he didn't just score one touchdown. I mean, I think he scored maybe 2 or 3 TDs that day, and they were all something serious, something special, right? So I mean, I'm after the game like, like where was this sport, when I was 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean? So I'm 6 going on 7, and after the game we get in the car, my dad's about to drop me off back to the house, and I'm like, look, Dad, I was a kid, I didn't ask for anything, but I was like, how do I sign up and play football? Like I want to do whatever my cousin just did. I want to do that. I mean, there's no debate, no hesitation. And so he's like, all right, we'll sign you up. So at that time, it was too late to sign up for that year. But the following season, I signed up, right? I signed up for the next year. So we went to practice, and I signed up, and I think they let me come in, though it was like too late, right? So I had no idea how to play this game. I was not one of those kids that are like, they hit the field and they're just like phenomenal, like from the start. I was not that kid. I was quiet. I was shy. I had no clue how to, what the game entailed. Really didn't watch too much of it before that at all. And so I was really, really fresh. No, some kids these days have flag football, right? We didn't really have too much flag football and it was not as prevalent as it is today. And so we didn't have like a bunch of youth programs that were like just spread throughout the city. There wasn't too much going on in that department of 7-on-7. So for me, it was just from not knowing to full pads, right? And that can be for most people the determining factor if they are football players or not, right? So fast forward to one of my first practices, right? I remember we did this thing called Bull in the Ring. Bull in the Ring for the OGs out there, like myself, I'm an OG now. Like, Bull in the Ring is totally illegal now. Like, we can't even do Bull in the Ring anymore, right? And if you don't know what Bull in the Ring is, it's all the kids on the team in a big circle, and there's one kid in the middle. And so the coach will blow the whistle and send a kid flying in at the kid in the middle of the ring, and boom, we just collide. And man, I think I got my first concussion. It was undiagnosed, which is not a funny matter, but hindsight, we laugh about those things now. But man, I got hit by the biggest kid on the team, and I'm like the scrawniest kid on the team. I'm new. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to hit. And man, I think the coaches tried to break me in. What has he got? And I didn't have much. I didn't have the mentality, early on. But I did have a lot of physical ability. I just didn't know how to use it, right? And so, again, this drill, Bull in the Ring, he blows the whistle. I'm a 6-year-old kid, and I'm looking at like, who is gonna fly out, of the group, right? I look up, I see this kid. I remember his name because that was a defining moment for me, as a 6-year-old kid. Swartz Miller. I haven't seen him since then. All right, I don't even know. He could be tuning into this podcast right now. And if you're on, hey man, thank you, because you really helped me turn around the way I play the game and the mentality that I have. You helped me better myself as a player. All right. Swartz Miller. Big neck roll. They had the neck rolls back then. If you don't know what a beaker is, my football guys are watching this are going to know, man. Big 3D beaker neck roll, and this big white kid comes flying at me. I'm like, of course, this is the biggest kid on the team, and I just tried to go into him, man. He ran me clean over, and I remember laying on the ground for a second, like, and I could see the stars, like, and I'm like, I'm seeing stars like the cartoons. Like, I watch cartoons and this happens, not in real life. So he hits me so hard, man. I'm seeing stars. I was still conscious. Like, I didn't black out or anything. But I'm like, wow, this is football. And I'm like, I signed up for this. And surprisingly, I was like, I got back up and I'm like, I like this. And one would think like, I'm never playing this sport again. Me, I was the complete opposite. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the contact. And when I got up, I was like, you know what? Never again will I get hit like that. I'm gonna hit people like that. And I didn't play defense. They automatically put me, I think they saw me hit a few times, and of course, like I wasn't developed with tackling and some of the 101 fundamentals of the game. I quickly learned it once I was taught it, but in this instance, I was just raw and had some athleticism, but I was fast. My speed was different. My speed was like untaught, and one thing that separated me from the rest was that. And one thing my cousin had was that speed. He was just so fast, so much faster than everyone. And so even for me in laps, when we used to do laps, a million laps before practice. It felt like I would be first in laps. When we do sprints, I'd be first in sprints, and speed was my strength early on. And so when the coaches quickly realized that, they put me right where my cousin was. I think some coaches started to realize like, oh wait, this is Howard's peoples. This is Howard's little cousin. And so they were like, well, let's put him at running back. And they're like, I remember a coach came to me, he's like, we're putting you at running back. And I was like, oh wait, this is the same position that my cousin plays. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I might get to do what I saw him do. And like I said, it was early on for me. I was just learning the game, and so I quickly learned the position. I was a very coachable kid. I was a very impressionable kid. Obviously, your 6-year-old, 7-year-old, is very impressionable. But I quickly learned how to play the game, and I was curious to know more. How can I do better at it? How can I learn more? And so the coaches, we had a really good running back already, and his name was Bruce. Bruce there weren't too many black players on the team, but we, because of the part of town that we were in, but Bruce was one of them, right? And he was our starting running back, and he had a little unorthodox run, but really effective. I mean, he was elusive, fast. Not like how my cousin was, and my cousin had a really weird way of running, but again, he was just extremely fast. But we had a running back in place already, so I was really looking to compliment him. Because he was older than me. He had way more experience than me, and he had been on the team for a while already, so they were really familiar with him. And I'm new, fresh, learning the game. And so they had, for guys like me who may not play as much during the game, back then they had what we call a fifth quarter. All right. I know it's kind of hard to believe because I don't even think that exists to this day. Maybe it does in certain places, but we had what we call a fifth quarter. So a fifth quarter was an extra quarter, as simple as it sounds. That's what it was. It was an extra quarter for kids who may not have played as much, kind of like a JV in high school. So we had our first game, and I remember we started the fifth quarter, right? And this is where I got my shot. So we started the game, my first carry. All right, so now I had some time to learn the position and practice and kind of get better, but really didn't get to do it versus someone else, right? Another team. So I remember we had two major run plays, 47 toss and 48 toss, right? So we had those were like the two big plays you need to remember as a running back. And me, all I had was speed going for me. I wasn't an elusive running back at that point. All right, again, I'm fresh, I'm learning the game. And I'm like, all right, I remember what my cousin did. I saw that in person. I saw that live. We both got speed. We both been blessed with speed. So I'm like, all right, let me try to implement what he does, on my first carry. And I remember Matt Irwin was my quarterback. I don't know how I remember that, but he had a distinct voice. All right. He had a really high pitched voice, freckles, redhead kid, at the time. And, he called down, set, hut, boom. He turns, we do 47 toss. He flips it to me. I catch it. And I just remember just blacking out. Like, all I remember is just running as fast as I could and try to beat everyone to the corner and just run as fast as I could. And I did. Beat everyone to the corner, turned up straight. I didn't hit a move. And all I remember is running and looking to my right, and I saw the referee, right? The referee's on my right side running with me. Just, you ever see? There's a reel out there where this referee was moving. I mean, this dude looked like he was still playing football at the moment, just decided to referee that day. Like, there's a reel. I might put it up here. I might put it up on here and play it. But he was moving like that. Now, I was 6 years old. We weren't going that fast. But, like, he was running stride for stride with me. And I'm just like, oh, my gosh. Like, and I hear the bells. I hear the cheering. I hear the crowd. Everybody cheering. Go, Kev. Go, Kev. And that was and I scored my first touchdown on my first carry. And I tell you right now, like, that was one of the greatest feelings I ever had as a child. And just experiencing that, I wanted to do it again. And I wanted to do it again. And I wanted to do it again. And so I started watching more football from that point on. Really trying to learn, like, how do I play this running back game better? Okay. I did. Like I said, I was a coachable kid, and I was always looking to learn more about the running back position at that point and try to be the best that I could. I didn't stay on fifth quarter long. I mean, once you score the length of the field, and even in fifth quarter, they shorten the field, so it's not a 100-yard field, right? It's condensed. So even the end zones, they put cones up, all right, to kind of guide where we playing, almost how I ended in arena football, where the field is more condensed, right? So it's kind of, we'll probably get there, talk about that too, how it was a full circle moment. But yeah, so there's another thing I wanted to talk about today was during this time where I started playing football, those first 1 to 2 years, or maybe 1 to 3 years, I was in school, and one of my nurses had did an evaluation of me because I wasn't feeling good one day, and they, she did a routine check, and she's like, I noticed your throat glands are swollen. And she was like feeling my neck, and she said, I think you need to get your thyroid checked. So because I was feeling like flu-like symptoms, I was shaking, I felt hot, and I felt cold, and thought maybe I came down with a bug and got sick. Well, come to find out that I was diagnosed not too long after that with Graves' disease. And another name for Graves' disease is what I had, which is an overactive thyroid problem. So overactive thyroid problem was tough for me because it affected everything I wanted to do with football. Like I would be short-winded. I had an irregular heartbeat that came with that. And I would get fatigued faster than normal. And I would just feel sick all the time. And I couldn't gain weight. So I would eat like a champ, man, and just never gain an ounce of weight. And so it affected the way that I played. And now they didn't say that I couldn't play. The doctors didn't say that, but they recommended that maybe I didn't, for safety reasons. But if you know me, I'm still playing. And so I continued to play. My mom agreed with letting me play. I think she talked to me, and I reassured her, like, hey, like, I could still do this. And just as long as, she felt like I was confident that I would be okay, I think she, even though she really didn't want me to play regardless, because my mom was like, I don't know if you ever seen The Waterboy, but The Waterboy, which is one of my favorite movies, his mother was anti him playing football. And my mom was pretty much the same. She just couldn't get over the idea of a bunch of, what is his mom saying, Waterboy? A bunch of overgrown monsters manhandling each other, And my mom felt like that. But, I'm like, come on, Mom, like, hitting's a part of the game, right? So, running into each other, that's what I signed up for. Yeah, so my mom agreed, and I'm like, great. We kept playing, and I noticed after I was diagnosed, and like as things kind of progressively got worse with it, it was so hard to run those laps. Was like, it was like a nightmare. And I remember still being in first in laps, still being first in sprints, feeling like I'm about to die, but I just kept pushing through it. I'm like, this is not gonna stop what I love to do, what I really enjoy doing. Like, I'm really enjoying playing this game. And so the mentality, right? Nobody taught me that, but it was just something that I had, this drive, you know, this determination of like, yes, the doctors are saying one thing, but I feel otherwise, and that's what I'm going to do. And so you talk about overcoming obstacles. A huge part of that is the way you think and your mentality towards the circumstance. Is that circumstance bigger than what you think? If it is, it's probably gonna get the better of you. But for me, my mentality was, this is not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna get better. I'm still gonna show up every day to practice. I'm still gonna try to be the best running back that I can be, the best player that I can be. And that's exactly what I did. And so, yeah, that's really my beginning story. That's how it all started. That's one of my first moments in football. And from then on, that love for the game never left. It quite frankly, it grew. The fire for this game grew. The passion for this game grew over the years. And we'll get into more of what type of obstacles came that I had to continue to bring that mentality into and continue to overcome some of the things that I was faced with. I want to talk a little bit more about my cousin. You know, Howard was obviously my first cousin, so we have the same last name. And he was a more than just a cousin to me. He was a big brother. And so this is a really, really tough thing to talk about. It's more personal that I'll share with you guys. And so just bear with me as I just kind of fill you in on the impact that he has had on my life. And then we'll just kind of bring this podcast to a close after that. But Howard, again, was my first cousin. I literally saw him as my brother. I can recall having countless conversations with him, you know, in my neighborhood, at our grandfather's house. And I mean, he was not into the things he was into. My mom would be totally against, you know, family would be totally against. And I think he had a bad reputation, but people don't understand how influential he was. And with me, he would always steer me away from the things he was doing. And it was just different between he and I. Like, our relationship was different. He could have very well led me down a path that he was going, and he chose not to. And I'll share with you guys one of the last conversations I had with him physically in high school. Everything changed, which we'll get into that. But we had a moment where this is at this point I was still playing Little League football, and he had a conversation with me in person. I remember we were sitting outside of my grandfather's house, and we were on the guardrail, and he talked to me plenty times before, but this one in particular just stuck with me. And he encouraged me that day to say, like, you are more than what is around you, right? You are more than what you see and who you surround yourself with. That lifestyle of the streets is not for you. You were made to do something way greater than what's common for all of us. And he encouraged me. I won't share everything he said, but for time's sake, but he encouraged me to stick with football, to let it take me far, and let it take me out of the hood. And that's basically what it came down to. And as far as our conversation, encouraging me and pushing me to stick with it, and helping me identify that I did have a gift playing football. And I did. And it was something that I felt I wanted to do, I should do. It's something that I wanted to pursue. And nobody forced me to play the game. No, not even my cousin. Like, he could have encouraged me. I was already going in that direction. I already knew what I wanted to do early on. I wanted to take football as far as I possibly could, and he just confirmed that. And it was great coming from him, because back then he was my idol. He was somebody I looked up to. He was somebody that I admired. Somebody who had respect in our neighborhood. Somebody who he had money. He had girls. He had all those things a young, impressionable guy, family or not, would want, and so I really looked up to him. And the fact that my idol then is telling me, like, stick with football, it's hard out here, the streets are brutal out here, and you don't want to end up dead or in jail. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. And football was much deeper than just a sport to me. Football was life. Football was my way out of the neighborhood that we were so commonly seeing the same repeated cycle over and over and over. Right? And so, just to give you guys a deeper look at, and a transparent look at my life and my football journey, my cousin was, those words changed my life. After that, I locked in. I trained so hard after that. My work ethic, even at a young age, became unbelievable. And my drive and my focus and my attention to detail took a turn after that conversation. And I took that and I ran with it. And I think that conversation alone helped me fight through the Graves' disease. It helped me fight through some of the other things I was facing family wise. My mom being a single parent, raising 3 kids on her own, it helped me fight through that. It helped give me a better perspective through that. And, I wanted to do something special in my family because I'll be the first. And for me, I was a first generation, everything. We'll get into that more in other episodes, but yeah, I hope that gives you guys some perspective on some of my early beginnings. And about early beginnings, I want to leave you with another short quote from the Bible. Do not despise the small beginnings. Right? It's in Zechariah 4:10. All right. And sometimes we look at how we start and make a determination of how things will go. And this verse of scripture can be applied to just give you some wisdom on humble beginnings. Sometimes you don't always start with everything handed to you. You don't start with all the resources. You don't start with all the talent in the world. And, you don't start with everything at your disposal. But it's the work beginning that, for me, I know that the Lord was excited to see me start my journey, start walking in the plan that He had for me. And and that's exciting. But yeah, I hope that quote helps you. Do not despise the small beginnings. Don't overlook the small beginnings, right? Don't look down on the small beginnings, if that helps you kind of understand a little bit more, for my younger people. All right. And so it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You probably heard that before, but don't despise the small beginnings. A lot of the greatest people on the planet, a lot of the people who have done some amazing things in life did not start the way you think they did, and I think that goes for every sport, every avenue, every interest or business or hobby. It doesn't always start pretty. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with is start. If I've talked to so many people who are late in their years, and I've asked them over the years, I said, like, man, what did you want to do when you were younger? And majority of them, if not all of them, have said they just never did it. They just never did the thing that was on the inside of them that they knew they wanted to do. They knew they had a passion for it or had a dream to do, and they just didn't do it. Don't be that one. Don't be that one. And that was something that motivated me as a young kid as well. As like, I don't want to be a waste. I don't want to look back on my life and say, man, I never did that. I never wanted to be that guy. A wasted talent. Somebody with all this potential and never using it, never walking in it, never maximizing it. And so that's a part of me doing this podcast even is, you know, there's a voice in me that needs to be heard. And I can't sit on this stuff. I got to give it to you. I got to give it to the next generation. I got to give it to those out there who need this message. And so let this be a lesson to you to start, even if it's humble.
Came out the bottom, I count a whole lot of young gonna worth millions of dollars. I asked out the charm, my little bitch a model. She made a few things off the follow. You wanna on tour, a BP the child. Live in a cool title. Ain't no more worries, I'm up at it early. Young niggas tryna figure out the problem. But 30-30, I hear like Curry. They hear me, I don't even holler. These niggas songs flop. Niggas ain't gon' stop. Switch out my cousin, my addy, my family straight, and that's all that matter. Stacking them rest and then saving, put back for whatever, whenever it happens. I put my trust in my paper, I'm walking through straight, I don't see no one else. No, it ain't low in this rap. Simmons and better missteps. Stay ready, I'm already prepped. Undefeated, I feel like the champ. My bitch love the hunters, we fucking get money, she turning my tongue to a champ. You did it, I done it, you know how I'm coming, you don't wanna show them what the world. Go pick up a bag and let's make across the country and light up that smoke in the air. Bitch is so chill, I treat her like my twin when I shop and I pop out a pair.